Hello and thank you for watching. I'm Jennifer Bowman with Olympia Piano, and this is number 6 in my 12 days of harmonization series. Today we're going to be doing Silent Night, and I'm going to show you a nice broken chord, simple flowing arrangement for the left hand. If you've seen some of my previous videos, this will be most helpful if you're able to download the Solfege Chord Finder. This is featured in the video that's called Harmonization 101, which shows harmonizations for all the different solfege syllables. So this is available for a free download, and just look in the description link for where to find that. Also, the sheet music for Silent Night and the lead sheet, just the words for Silent Night, are available in that same download link. So find it in the description, print it out, and follow along. In this video, we're going to do 3 things. The first thing we're going to do is harmonize the melody, so figure out which chords sound best with the melody. Secondly, I'll show you the new accompaniment pattern. And thirdly, we will take the chords that we used in the harmonization, put them on this lead sheet so you can play the accompaniment in any key. And before we begin with the harmonization, I'm just going to go over a fingering that I use for Silent Night. I like to start on G and have my hand in this position, so nothing here on F, so little space between the thumb and finger 2. Then we're going to stretch up. See, the pinky will stretch up 1 to D. Then we'll scoot down 1, 3 on A, which leads us to this position like the beginning. Big stretch up here to 3. Now we'll move down, pinky on C and pinky on G. There's lots of ways to finger this, but this works really well. What we're going to do is fill out the solfege syllables for this melody, which then allows us to choose the harmonies that sound good with this melody. So take a couple minutes to write in the solfege. All of the music in this series is in the key of C, just to keep things simple. So in the key of C, G is so. So fill out your solfege. All right, so once you have all of your solfege filled out, what we're going to do is we're going to choose 1 chord per measure for the harmonization in this piece. So the way it works is we check which syllable we're starting on, in this case so, and I'm going to come over here, check my Solfege Chord Finder. With the syllable so, we have 1, which is a C chord, 3, which is E minor, and 5, which is G. We're going to try all 3 of those out, starting with the 1 chord. I think you can hear right away the 1 chord sounds good. Let's try the 3 chord. 3 also sounds okay. And finally, let's try the 5 chord. Don't think 5 works, but I think 1 and 3 work, with 1 being the stronger. Usually at the beginning of a piece and at the end of the piece, you want to start with the 1 chord. So I'm going to do that. So now we've got mi in our next measure. So mi, we can also have the 1 chord. I think you already heard that the 1 chord works fine there. And we could have the 3 chord E minor or the 6 chord A minor. So I'm going to try the 1 chord moving to the 3 chord. Ooh, that sounds very pretty. Or 1 moving to 6 minor. Both of those create a different color. They both work. However, they both work, but I'm going to go with the 1, keep this very simple for now. However, what you could do is, if you're doing multiple verses, maybe the second time through, you use one of these alternate chords just to give it some different color, or maybe the words are different in the repeat, creating a different sort of mood where you could use a different harmony. All right, so now we have the same pattern, and I'm just going to stick with 1 chords for the whole. All right, line 2, our syllable is re. So the chords we're going to try will be 2 chord D minor, 5 chord G major, and 7 chord B diminished. So I'll start with the 2 chord. 2 chords, okay. Let's try the 5 chord. 5 chord sounds stronger, and let's try the 7 diminished chord. I think they all work, but I'm going to go with the 5 chord. You heard the 5 sounds good for both of those measures. So we're going to just keep 5 for both of those, nice and strong. And then do, our choices for do are 1 chord, C, F chord, 4, or A minor. So I'm going to play the whole line so you hear that. We'll start it with the 1 chord, okay? One works for both of those measures. Okay, now I'm going to play the 4 chord. 4 works for the measure with the do in it, and let's try the 6 chord. So you hear the 6 is more colorful. So the 1 chord worked, the 4 chord worked, and the 6 chord worked. The 4 chord only worked for this measure. So in this case, again, on repeat, you could use these alternate chords. So for now, I'm just going to stick with the 1 here and make sure there's no better choice for so. So we've tried 1, which sounds good. We'll try the 3 and the 5. So here's the 3. Again, very colorful. Okay, and here's the 5. 5 doesn't really work. So I'm going to go with 1. So here's line 2. We'll have 5, 5, 1, 1. Okay, lines 3 and 4, exactly the same. So I'm going to keep a very simple harmonization for this video, but know that some of these alternate chords could be used perhaps the second time through. So now let's look at La. La, our choices are 2, D minor, 4, F, or 6, A minor. Here's the 4. And here's the 6. The 2, 4, and 6 all work. For the F major, it's the most simple and traditional. We're going to go with that for both of those measures. Okay, now let's figure out the end of the line. So choices 1 C major, 3 E minor, and 5 G major. I'm going to start at the beginning of the line so we hear it in context. So 4 chord, 1. Okay, that's very traditional. We're very used to hearing that. Let's try 4 going to 3. Very beautiful, very colorful. You could use that 3 chord if you're going to repeat and have it slightly differently. And let's try the 1 and the 3 work because I'm keeping it simple. 2 more lines. Here we go. Re is our next choice. Re's choices are 2, 5, and 7, D minor, G, or B diminished. I'm going to play the measures before so we hear it in context. So 2 measures before. We'll try the 2 chord first. Works okay. Okay, let's try the 5 chord, coming 2 measures before. Very strong, and let's try the 7 chord. Could work in an alternate harmonization. So I'm going to stick with the 5 chord. That was the strongest. It was the strongest for both measures as well. Here's the end of the line, do, mi. So we've got 1, 4, or 6, 4. Here's the 1. Very familiar. Okay, let's try the 4 chord. The 4 chord would work for the do, and then you'd probably switch for the mi if you wanted a little bit more movement, or the 6 chord. Ooh, very pretty. They all work. 1 is the most traditional. The 4 did not work for the mi, but the 6 did if we were going to switch. So I'm going to also do one other option there for could work on an alternate. I'm going to stick with basics for this video, 1, 4, and 5. Okay, and finally, we're at the end. We know the last one's going to be a 1 chord because that's the end. So let's do do here. We've either got 1, 4, or minor 6. Here's 1, or 4. Doesn't work, that mi clashes with it. Okay, and then let's try the minor 6, A minor. Could work. 1 is the strongest, however. And so our choices are going to be 1, minor 3, or 5. 1 does not work. Let's try minor 3. Minor 3 is okay, but not very strong, and let's try 5. 5 is the strongest. Now that the harmonization is done, we're just using the primary chords, which are the 1, 4, and 5 in this accompaniment today. But there's plenty of other options that you can use if you want a little bit of color. And I'm talking about basic harmonization, not extended chords in these videos here. So now we're going to have our 6th accompaniment pattern. We have had block chords in root position. We've had block chords in inversions, close inversions. We have had boom chuck, back and forth. We've had boom chuck chuck for a waltz, so you could use that for this. And then number 5 was a boom chuck, but with alternating root and 5th. So today's accompaniment is going to be a slow, flowy accompaniment. And all we're going to do is we're going to take these chords in root position and play root, 3rd, 5th. So left hand is just going to play 5, 3, 1 the whole entire time. The only time it won't be passing through the chord is perhaps at the very end when you might want to play a block chord. So should be very simple. So we've got our 1 chord. Sorry, I messed up when I was doing this. So 1 chord here, and we're just going to have quarter notes. Take a moment, write the chords in. The only thing you need to be careful about is the placement in the measure with the dotted quarter note. So it will be together. Then it's going to come before this 8th note, and then together with that one. Now here, when we switch to the 5 chord in the next line, we have to decide, do we want to go up to the 5 chord or do we want to go down to the 5 chord? So let me play the last 2 measures. I'll do it both ways. Here's going up. Or I like going down. I think that's stronger to have a lot more range there. So at this moment, then we're going to go down to that low G. I did the stem wrong right there. And then we had 1 back up to where we were. Then again, we have a decision to make. We've got our 4 chord for the next 2 measures. So should we go up to the 4 chord or down to the 4 chord? Here's going up. Here's going down. They both work. I'm going to just go down. I like it when it's spread out a little bit more. Back to the C. Makes it easy for the switch right here, by the way, because then finger 5 can go where finger 1 just was. 5, 5, 1, 1, and 1, 5, 1, and tie. So go down for the 5 chord again. And at the end, we're not going to keep going with the rolling chord, but rather just roll through once, then chord. All right, let's do a playthrough with this new accompaniment. Again, you're just going to be using fingers 5, 3, 1 the whole entire time. So know which direction you're going. Sometimes I just write a little arrow there. So 5, 3, 1, then back up and down and so forth. Thing to consider is how many notes does each hand have and when are they playing together? So at the beginning, it's going to be together, left, right, together, together, right hand holds for 3 notes. Same thing. And then in line 2, the other rhythm we have is this half note followed by a quarter note. So with the half note, 2 notes, quarter notes together. So let's go through the whole piece, starting with the 1 chord, finger 2 here on So or G. Here we go. Together, left, right, together, right hand holds. If you like to use the pedal, sounds really pretty and gentle. Now right hand's going to stretch to 5, so is left. Left hand's in G position. Actually, right hand's in G position as well. Now left hand's going to squeeze up. Now both hands down a little bit. F position, both hands. Pinky comes where thumb was, moving back to that one chord, that C major chord. Down to F. Back up to C, one chord. Now big stretch up to 3 here and down to 5 here. Back up to 1. And then pinky comes to C. Both finger 5s on G. One little tip when you're playing this sort of accompaniment is you want to have your finger 5 be the loudest and your thumb be the softest, so we don't have something like this. So just think about that. Because the thumb is a shorter finger, it can tend to be louder just by the nature of it having to come in at a slight angle. So I like to think of my left hand as floating up. So it's a down, up, float, down, and then right hand is just really connected to the keys. All right, we're on our final step, step 3, which is adding the chords to the lyrics on a lead sheet. So what we do is we take these Roman numerals and put them above the word or the syllable that they occur on. So if we have silent night, holy night, they're just gonna, I like to put them, even though we're staying on the same chord, I like to put them on the word so I know, okay, that's where I'm gonna do a pattern. All right, so then we have all is calm, those are 5 chords. All is bright, round, yawn, ver, it's gonna go with the ver. 1 chord, mother and child, holy in, 10, mile. Then finally, sleep in heavenly, and sleep in heavenly peace. All right, so we'll play through first in the key of C, so using the same chords that we just used, and then we'll transpose this to a different key. When you're playing a 2-hand accompaniment, we're not going to be playing the melody here. So I like to, for this particular pattern, I like to have my left hand play in either root of the chord or octaves. And then the right hand will do the broken chord. If the left hand's just doing the root, we're just worrying about 3 notes here. So the 1 chord would be finger 5, the 5 chord would be finger 1, and the 4 chord would be finger 2. So I'm just going to write that. This is not standard notation what I'm doing right now. This is just to help you know which finger to play if you're going to do the 1 finger. It can be a little confusing because it's the reverse of the Roman numerals. All right, so we can either do, or if you're very comfortable with your notes down here, play it in an octave. It gives a little more fullness. So let's go through now the lead sheet only. The right hand's playing these broken chords. By the way, the right hand will move up for the G chord and up for the F chord when we get to those 5 and 4 chords. So I like to also give the singers or instrumentalists a 2-measure introduction. They can hear their pitch as the 3rd note of the pattern. So if we have 1, 2, here's your note, silent night, and so forth. Left hand's gonna play thumb, right hand's gonna move up, and pinky for the left hand, finger 2 for the left hand, right hand moves up, back down to C, up to F, 4 chord, back down, thumb in the left hand, and back down to C, 1, 5, The final step with the lead sheet is, this is a pretty high rendition if we were singing. It goes all the way up to this F here. So we actually want to choose a key that would be a little bit less difficult for most people to sing. Let's move the high note down from this high F to a C, make it a little bit more manageable for more people. So in the piece, the high note is on the syllable fa. So now we have to figure out, okay, which key has fa as a C? So we just move down. So the key of G is what we're going to use. So we're going to have the 1 chord will be G. The 4 chord is C major, and the 5 chord is D. So there will be a black key in the 5 chord. So now let's play this in the transposed version. Now the singer's starting note will be D, and the accompaniment will sit a little lower on the piano. So for our 1 chord, G major. So 1, 4 chord is C, 5 chord is D. 2 measures of intro. Here's the starting pitch. Up to D, back to G, 1 is now G chord, now up to C major, float off your pinky when you're playing it with the right hand, up to C, back down to G, up to D, and G is our 1 chord in the key of G. 5, 1 chord. So thank you very much for watching this video, harmonization number 6. Today we talked about the broken chord and root position. This flowing accompaniment can be used for a lot of the 3/4 peaceful Christmas songs like The First Noel. Or Away in a Manger. So see if you can find some other Christmas carols that this could work for. Please subscribe and stay tuned for the rest of this series. I have 6 more to go. I'm going to be showing you some alternate flowing patterns and some other useful harmonization tips. I love it when you write to me in the comments. Let me know what you're working on or if you have a certain video you'd like to see. And as always, thank you for watching.